Hey there, Joey from dayjobhacks.com. Today I'm going to talk about 8 simple Facebook ad hacks to make your ads more profitable, okay? Today marks a special day for Facebook advertisers. It is the day after the election in the US, and a lot of people were complaining up until now that they were losing their Facebook ad accounts because of many of the restrictions in place with regard to false information and all that stuff. I've been talking to a few people this morning who do a lot of Facebook advertising, and they are starting to say, you know, it's starting to look a little better. My ads are getting approved a little faster. Maybe we're not out of the woods yet. However, it is getting better. Now, I started a campaign back in October 15th, about 2.5 weeks ago, and my ad was getting disapproved, so I stopped and I left one ad running, okay? And what I've seen over the course of the last couple weeks is that the ad is actually working quite well, and I thought it'd be a great video topic today to talk about 8 things that are making this ad do well and why it's converting. And I think it'll be very helpful for people wondering how I run Facebook ads, how affiliates run Facebook ads, and how we can make better ads in general. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in, and I know people like to see data. So this is a campaign that was running, you know, not a lot per day. It was only running $25 a day because I didn't want to scale it at all. I was too scared to get banned just by making changes on the account. So now that we're past the day, I'm going to start scaling and start doing different things, and I think it'll be a great example of showing you some of the strategies that people are using to make their ads better. Okay, so here we are inside my Facebook. I am not trying to be a Facebook ad guru. I just want to show you some of the data and some of the things that are working for me. So over the course of the last 30 days, we've been coming up to the end of the election, and obviously everyone was complaining about their accounts being banned. They were complaining about the high cost per mil, or the CPM, cost per 1,000 impressions. And one of the things I observed from my campaign that I've been doing here that has helped is obviously increasing the click-through rates of my ads. If you increase your click-through rate of your ad and you have more engagement with your ads, that's going to counteract the cost per mil. Okay, so as you can see here, this is a very consistent click-through rate for the last 30 days. Like if I do last 7 days, you're going to see it is roughly the same, 13, 11. Like this isn't just one spectacular day. This is on average over the last 30 days, a very, very high click-through rate. So how are we doing this? How are we getting high click-throughs while at the same time getting conversions? There's purchases here as well as initiate checkouts, okay? So this isn't just you know, trying to throw out some crazy ad to get people to click on it. We're trying to get something that converts, something that didn't get banned in the last 30 days during one of the most high ban eras in all time for Facebook advertisers. So here is the key. Let's talk about the 8 components of a good ad that's not going to get banned, in my opinion, and what's actually been proven to work. Now, obviously, this is not a lot of data at $25 a day. If I was to scale this, I'm sure the unique CTR would go down a bit. But, I mean, hey, we have good engagement. We have a whole bunch of things happening here. So what are we doing? So first, the number one thing is to not be an actual ad. What I mean by that is we want to actually look like content that people will enjoy and not actually know that they're being advertised to, okay? So the key here is creating content that people want to engage with, they want to share, and in the end, they go to the content and end up becoming somebody that clicks on a link and eventually converts into a lead or converts into a customer, okay? So that is what we're doing here. So we're using keywords and wording in our ads that isn't showing that we're an ad. So for example, we're not saying discounts today only, or top rated, buy here, stuff like that. We're saying things like, hey, how to, or learn, or here's the coolest thing ever. So people are kind of engaging right off the bat. So the big thing there is don't be an ad, be content, be something that people want to engage with, and you're going to see unique click-through rates like this. So if you want ad ideas and you want to see what your competitors are doing, come to the ad library, find their Facebook page, enter their page here and see their ads, get ideas, and try and find the ones that aren't actual ads, or they don't look like ads, okay? So they're not using the words that everyone knows is an ad, okay? Number two, using fear of missing out, okay? So in the ads, we're creating a scarcity or an urgency. So people are thinking they're gonna miss out on content. So saying things like the biggest secret ever, or you won't believe what you see here, or this is the biggest thing ever to hit. These are wordings that you want to try and use, but at the same time, be very careful, and you want to make sure you review the Facebook ads policies that you aren't going too crazy. So come over here and look at the Facebook ad policies, and you want to check and make sure you're not breaking some of the big ones here, okay? So misleading ads is one that is always going to get disapproved. So if you're using big sensational content like this, shocking, sensational, all that, you want to avoid that, but at the same time create fear of missing out. So don't, again, use typical ad copy like limited time only or sale ends soon. Maybe that works for some products and services, but generally speaking, it's again going to look like an ad, and you're not going to see the high click-through rates that is going to bring down the cost per click. Even though you're running in a market that has a very high CPM, your ad is going to be delivered because it's getting engagement. Number three, we want to create an irresistible offer, okay? So something that they just cannot avoid clicking. Now I'm going to get into how we can create that irresistible offer, but in order to create an irresistible offer, you must understand who your audience is. I've done another video on YouTube here called the $1 Million Customer. I highly recommend you check that out. I'll pop up a link as well. In this video, I talk about understanding your audience a lot, okay? And if you can combine this video with some of the tools that Facebook has in their tool over here, the audience insights, you can find out what your actual audience is always looking for, okay? So if you know your product, you can create the irresistible offer. So something that is not, again, looking like an ad, but creating that mystery, or something that's going to make them click and share with people on Facebook. So think about your customer avatar, and that is very important. So how do you create the ad so that they start clicking on it and engaging with it? Because you can see this ad also, when we look at the engagement here, it's already gotten 33 shares. So that's about 1 share a day at $25 a day. I mean, it's not crazy, but it's still pretty damn good for a $19 click ad. And this is, by the way, completely broad, 100% broad, no targeting aside from the United States. Okay, so let's just keep that in mind. I think the ad is equally, if not more important than the audience targeting when it comes to Facebook ads. Now, I'm obviously going to get some various opinions on that statement, but I think the ad is definitely very, very important here in order to get metrics like this. And again, I'm going to reiterate, this is not a lot of data. However, it's enough to make these assumptions. So the next thing is a compelling headline, something that has an action verb. Okay, so I'm always putting a call to action in my headlines. One of the things you can do is just basically come to Google and search headline tools. There's so many of them that I'm not going to recommend one, but there are some really cool ones. And I was using, I believe, this one here today just to kind of give an example. So if you're trying to come up with headlines for your product, say you're selling the coolest gadget in the world, flashlight. Okay, I know that's a really bad example because it's something that is, well, just kind of beaten to death. But let's just say we have the best flashlight. So let's go with coolest flashlight ever. Okay, let's just see what the tool says. Obviously, that's not an awesome headline, but let's see what they say. Coolest flashlight ever. So you can see my score is terrible here. And it's giving me some indicators as to what I can do to improve my headline to make it better. So let's change this headline to something else and see if we can improve that score. So I've gone ahead and tried a new one. You should carry this flashlight at all times. So I've thrown in some action words. Again, not super great, but it's getting better. Okay, so as you can see, this tool is great for analyzing your headlines, and this is where you would want to start testing your headlines. Now, one of the cool tricks I do that is not really my trick, it's just a trick that everyone should be doing. It's using dynamic ads when you're setting up your ads on Facebook. So this is a dynamic ad. So what I can do when I set up dynamic ads, when I'm setting up my ad sets, is I can start looking at the dynamic creative elements, and I can start seeing what images are working best, what headlines are working best. So when you set up your ads, you set up multiple different headlines in that one ad, and Facebook will now start to optimize towards the best headlines, the best descriptions, best call to actions, all of that stuff. Now, all of these things obviously need to be unique, so you can try and test different elements. Next, what I'm doing is I'm using amateur photos, okay? So I'm actually taking pictures with my phone, and I'm adding in like banners and stuff like that from Google Images. So I'll take actual photos that catch people's eye. Again, what you're going to want to do is you're going to have to come into Facebook ads library and look at people's ads and see what's actually catching your eye. I often scroll through and find out what exactly is actually catching my eye. But let's just type in an example right now. The biggest thing that affiliates seem to be focused on right now is, Medicare, insurance, health insurance, all that kind of fun stuff. So type in insurance in the Facebook ads library. What I often do is come down, I just start scrolling down, seeing what is actually going to catch my eye. Every now and then there's one, like this one with the ambulance. A little risky. If you have to also consider the policy from Facebook. Anything too sensational is going to get you banned as well. This lineup is kind of cool, catches my eye, looks almost amateur. In somebody was probably standing in line, took a picture. That's the kind of stuff you want. This kind of doesn't work for me. This birth certificate, kind of not catching my eye, right? These lineups are obviously working for this insurance company here. People are lining up. So they're using scarcity as well here. As you can see, this also creates scarcity because they have these lineups. People are missing out on what's happening here. And you can find some great examples here of what people are actually doing. And then you can actually even see their headlines here. And you can test these headlines if you want right into that tool that I showed earlier on how to create good headlines as well. So, I mean, this is just a way of finding amateur photos. Make sure you do it yourself. Do your own research. And again, the best tool here is your own cell phone or your own camera. Take your own pictures. That way you know they're 100% original and you won't have to worry about getting flagged. If you want to learn more about getting flagged, check out my other video that I'll pop up here about how to keep your Facebook account active without getting banned. Again, also don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you like this type of video and this type of content. The next one is using carousel ads to tell a story. This is another option inside the Ads Manager. When you create your ads, you want to go ahead and create one that is going to be a carousel, so you can take multiple pictures and you start with one ad image and then you create a story. So you try to capture them with your first image, then they scroll through and they start to see the entire story about your product, at which point they want to click and go and engage with your ad, okay? That's an easy one. All right, so let's get into the last one here before I end this video. This one isn't really about ad creative in itself. It's more about how I worked the pixel on this one. The pixel is something that didn't, like I said, I didn't change much on this campaign because I didn't want to make any changes, and over time the pixel actually improved everything for me. What I was doing is I was actually targeting, or my objective was to initiate checkout. So the objective on this campaign was a conversion objective, initiate checkout, and I set that up using Google Tag Manager to basically fire the Facebook pixel every single time somebody clicked on an outbound link that contained my tracking link. So Google Tag Manager was able to do that for me. Now, another way you can do it is to use the Facebook pixel automated system they have here. I don't really like to use that. I like to use my own coding. However, in the future, not too long from now, we're all going to be forced to be using the conversion API. So something you should probably be looking at in terms of tracking clickouts on your website as well as conversions. Now, I'm also having the pixel track purchases. So eventually I will be able to create a similar audience here to the website purchasers and start showing those ads again to the same people or people similar to that. So I can do that again over here in the tools that Facebook allows me to use, which is the audiences, and I can create similar or lookalike audiences. Now, I find that has actually helped quite a bit, especially with this ad, because I didn't touch it for literally 30 days, and at the start of this campaign I was paying roughly $8 Canadian per initiate checkout, and now is down to $1.40 Canadian, which is roughly $1 US per initiate checkout in a very highly competitive niche. And as you can see, the click-through rate and everything has remained consistent as well. So using the pixel to help you obviously is something that everyone should know when you're running Facebook ads. But one of the cool things that you could start doing is start with an easy conversion to get Facebook warmed up easier, faster, to people that are interested in clicking through to your offer, and then eventually move into the conversions or website purchases later, where you can start retargeting and doing all that stuff. That is more advanced. We'll talk about that in future videos. Please subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos, upcoming more in-depth Facebook ad videos, anything related to buying traffic. All of that is on this channel. So check out my other videos, and thank you for tuning in today. Talk to you later.